I got it.
So, welcome everybody to our little now weekly happening. Oh, I see I have the wrong date on my slide, so I will just go over to the next one. On our now weekly happening community treasury call every Thursday at 3 p.m. Berlin time. We are meeting here for a little session and talk about the upcoming Treasury vote, which was announced kind of or clarified last week in the blog post. And just to give you a bit of an update of where we are and what's coming up, and especially also to be open here for all questions that people might have, and um, to just have an open chat for the community to really get everybody informed of what stuff is going on here. Um, Let me see. Do we have some? We always have normally some newcomers. So I think because last week we had mainly the blog post to talk about. I hope everybody had read it already and did understand most of the stuff that is explained inside there. But I can maybe give again a little bit a short review of um, what's happening in the vote and how it will little bit technically work. And then today is not much new points to discuss, but gonna have some clarification around the tokens and then a bit of updates to the for Firefly. And then it's really open for all of you to discuss and ask questions. And I and Greg and everyone involved will hopefully be able to answer all of them. And if we can't, we will note it down and we'll post it in the chat or something later then. Yeah, and so also while I'm talking and you have some pressing question, just start bringing them up. You can also post questions in the uh, either in the general chat, but better would be in the governance discussion chat where they won't get lost. And so then we can also answer them later in the call and give appropriate information to all of you. Um, as stated in the blog post last week, we're gonna have to vote on more than 50 TI tokens that are um, being unclaimed from the beginning of the protocol in 2016. And um, you will have to decide if either those tokens will be completely removed from the IOTA ledger, so which this would mean actually that the total supply will be reduced and these tokens will be unaccessible forever from the ledger. This will be a code change to the ledger and to the Hornet node software that will implement this. Or the other option would be to build, would mean that those tokens could be used by the IOTA community in a system that is governed and controlled, decentralized by the IOTA community to and to be used to fund development and to support projects that are seen useful and important for the IOTA ecosystem to increase growth and adoption and support our builders and educators and the general community. Um, you will vote in your Firefly wallet. We have been working hard over the last couple of months of implementing this voting functionality into Firefly. Um, in generally, you can think about voting from the functionality very similar to staking. So technically, it's nearly the same process happening in the background. Um, you A vote is always created as a transaction of your tokens that you are sending to yourself. So the the sending address and the receiving address of those tokens are the same. So you're sending a little loop to yourself. And while you are sending those tokens, you are writing your opinion, so actually what you want to vote for, onto those addresses, which means that after you have executed the vote, um, a part, as a part of your address, the information if you have chosen build or if you have chosen burn, will be written onto the IOTA tangle, and the nodes of the network that will be responsible to count those votes, they can register now that your amount of tokens has been voting for either this or the other option, and they will keep track of this, and from this counting they will produce results in the end. To require a bit of, let's say, conviction and holding period from you, so that we would exclude people that only try to influence the vote decision by using a big amount of cash and doing a fast buy vote and then sell back. We require you to hold those tokens on the address after the vote for 10 days. We call this period the counting period because in these 10 days, the nodes will continuously count your opinion, and the longer you hold the tokens on the address, the more votes these tokens will generate. And this is the same thing actually that you know from staking. So you also see if you stake IOTAs in Firefly, every couple of seconds, fresh assembly and fresh shimmer tokens will show up in your wallet. Yeah, so you will have an increasing number of tokens generated by staking. And the same thing happens in voting. Over time, you will have an increasing number of votes generated from your tokens. And so you can achieve your maximum voting weight, how we call it, if you hold your tokens for the full 10 days in the vote. Similar like you hold your tokens in staking for the full 90 days.
In other words, it's like staking, but instead of assembly or shimmer, you get votes as a reward.
Yes, actually you are kind
And
of
you
earning,
are
you're earning
you
votes.
earn vote.
Yeah.
You earn you earn vote tokens, but you
Yes.
never gain them. They are instantly used.
No, we cannot promise that those vote tokens will be listed on an exchange. Exactly.
Who knows?
Who
Maybe,
knows?
hey,
No.
this address voted for build. Let's give him some
No,
tokens,
no.
our tokens.
Werner, stop it. Stop it. Somebody will pick it up and tomorrow we will read it on Twitter that we are selling votes or something like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Please
no.
don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Okay,
You
back to
will you
topic.
will you will just gain votes which will give you more say and more power in the decision in the end. Um, you are um, you are always free and flexible, same like in staking. So your tokens will not be locked. Yeah. So whenever you think, I've voted enough, I don't want to do it anymore, I need my tokens for something else, you can always remove them, send them to somewhere else. You can stop voting. You can change your opinion during the vote. You can add more tokens to a vote if you buy more and you receive fresh ones into your wallet. You can add them to the current already voting votes. So all this is similar like the staking, where you also are free and flexible and have this kind of, we call it kind of liquid staking or liquid voting, where you can always control what happens with your tokens and they are not locked in a smart contract or sent away from your wallet. You always have the full control of what happens to your tokens. The counting of these votes will happen in the Hornet nodes, the nodes that make up the network. And every node operator that wishes to participate in the counting can activate a plugin in the Hornet node software. This will actually be pretty easy. It can be activated in the node dashboard. So even people, node operators that are not super firm with going deep into the code of the node can activate it over the web interface. And if you have activated this at the right time, actually before the voting will be open in Firefly, you will have to have it activated. Then your node will register and count all votes that are happening in the Tangle from all users and all voters everywhere in the world, and your node will keep a database of these votes and can produce a valid result already during the vote, but also at the end of the vote. And so your node will be able to verify that the the published results in the end are correct, because you can directly compare these results with the results that your node has registered. And if everything turns out normally, you will see that there will be no difference between the counting of your node and the counting of other nodes. This should be the case. And what else? Yeah, so there will be two time frames. Once we have a final date when the vote will happen, and this final date is actually only depending on when Firefly is absolutely ready and completely tested, then we will be able to define the date when the vote will start. And from this date on, you will have 7 days time to cast your decision. Maybe you remember from staking, we also had this pre-staking period. We took this 7 days to so that everybody has enough time to really be in the vote from second one, from the beginning. So if you do your vote in these 7 days before the counting actually starts, you can be sure that your votes will reach the maximum possible weight, and the maximum possible votes will be counted from your tokens. And so you can do this in the 7 days whenever you like. You can also change everything during the 7 days. So if you did something wrong or you're not sure, you can always remove the vote, do it again, change opinion, use more or less tokens. This is all free. The only thing that matters is that at the beginning of the next period will be 10 days. Your votes are casted, and then afterwards you best don't touch them anymore. You still can, but if you change things in this 10-day period, you might not gain the full amount of votes than if you wouldn't touch them. Yeah? So votes that you start later after this 10-day counting period have started, they will not be able to reach the same amount of votes that tokens that have been participating from the beginning of the 10-day period time. So you will be maybe only able to reach 80% of your possible votes if you vote only for 8 days instead of 10 days. But that's kind of same with staking. If you start later with staking, you don't have the 90 days. So in the end, you will reach a little bit less token than others that have participated in the whole time. Also, maybe a nice thing is that the voting system we have been developing in Firefly now is not something that is only made for this one vote. It is kind of agnostic, and it's made to be continuously used in the future, either by the community or by the IF or by anyone that actually wants to use token-based voting in IOTA. This can later on be implemented in Firefly, so the community can produce own, we call it events. An event is always kind of a question with certain answers. Yeah, and so if some of you want to ask all IOTA token holders, hey, do you want that Antonio finally shaves his beard? You could set up such a vote, and you could have the IOTA token holders vote on it within Firefly. This is something for a later stage after the first vote, but this is something that will be available to the community to further use it. Okay, I think most of the things, like I said, if you have read the blog post, everything should be pretty clear defined there. So this was just a little short overview for some of you that have not been maybe taking part in these calls over the last couple of months and weeks, and to give you just a short head up where we are. This would be the counting, but it's a similar graphic is in the blog post, so I'm sure most of you have seen it. Does anybody have any questions so far to my explanations? 1, 2, 3.
Ask away, you guys. He's talking by himself, so I know the answers.
I'm good. It's always good to hear Greg. This really tells me that I'm not alone in the call, and or maybe my
exactly.
internet has been breaking down. But if everybody is happy so far, I would just move on to the next little point, which would be a little clarification about this 50 or more than 50 TI tokens that are up for the vote. I know the blog post was very long, and there has been also some blog posts during the Chrysalis update in April. And actually, we figured out that it led to there is a bit of confusion going on, because also we figured out that we did not communicate exactly the where these tokens are actually coming from. So, and this is why we wanted to clarify this here. So there is the tokens that are now up for vote are only originating from the year 2015 and 2016. And actually, these are only 3 events that these tokens are originating from. The ones that are now up for vote. The first, and by far the biggest amount of tokens, are tokens that have never been claimed after the initial crowd sale. The initial crowd sale was a process in December 2015, while IOTA did not even exist. It did only exist as a thread in the Bitcoin Talk forum, where people had the chance to be kind of early buy-in investors in what it seemed to this time crazy revolutionary idea, and they could deposit a Bitcoin to the founders of IOTA at this time, and were promised to have the possibility to claim IOTA tokens once the IOTA mainnet, the development is finished, and the IOTA mainnet would go live. And this go live happened then a little bit later. I think in February 2016 was kind of the genesis of IOTA. And so they had a 90-day period time after the mainnet went live to claim those tokens that they have kind of deposited for in December 2015. And most of those IOTA tokens have been claimed during this 90 days time. And over the next couple of years, also claims have been granted again if people had been a little bit forgotten and came a bit later. But now, after nearly 7 years or 6 years after the initial crowd sale, those tokens are considered to be void, also legally void. Yeah, so this is something that is important to know, that it is not something made up. This is all checked by lawyers, so there is no legal claim on those tokens anymore. And so they are up to be decided by the community what should happen with them. Another event which created some of those tokens that are up for the vote here are now the first signature scheme of the IOTA beta protocol. So kind of when IOTA started, it was really kind of still only running on a couple of nodes in a network, and it was all test and development still. It was neither listed on an exchange, there was no price, it was not a tradable token nor anything. It was just kind of a network running around in the IOTA community of the beginning and the developers, and they had to change the signature scheme. And also after this change, there was another kind of reclaim period where you would have to change the tokens from the old one to the new one. And then there was another thing where the initial supply of IOTA was defined to be what we know now, the nearly 2.8 PI, the para IOTA. But actually, when it launched in the beginning of 2016, it was only 999 billion tokens. And so I don't know, they came to change this, they wanted to have a larger token supply, and so also it was one of the old tokens got exchanged to 279 of the new tokens, something like this. And also some people again have not followed this process to claim their new IOTA tokens, and whatever was tried to find them or to get those tokens to them in the last couple of years did not work. All this stuff has happened before even anybody thought about the IOTA Foundation. So the current IOTA Foundation was absolutely not involved in any of those claim periods, signature schemes, supply updates. This also happened long before anybody outside those people that have followed the discussion in the Bitcoin Talk forum was able to buy a single IOTA token. So the first publicly traded IOTA supply started in June 2016. So nearly a year after all those changes, the token was then finally, the network was finally ready to be going live on publicly on an exchange, and then after this the IOTA Foundation was created and stuff like that. The IOTA Foundation itself has never been in possession of any of those funds or did ever hold any of those tokens in custody or anything. They don't have a legal owner, and so only the community of the token holders now should decide what should happen to those tokens. And there was the thing what we wanted to correct, because in our blog post from 2021 in April, and also in the last one, there was some, it was not really clear where these tokens are coming from. So they don't come from the so-called MBUC and the curl signature scheme, which actually happened in 2017 in autumn. Non-tokens that are coming from a reclaim of these events are part of this current vote. So actually there are nearly around 50 more TI lying around from this reclaim phases, which are still where the reclaims are still processed if they have been made public and claimed by the IOTA Foundation before June 2021. Yeah, so that's, I think, some useful information. We have seen in some social media channels there was a lot of questions around where it's coming from, and so we wanted to clarify this. Good. Yeah. Any questions on this?
So, yeah, I would just say whoever's joined, somebody's just joined and there's echoing. So.
Yes, I hear this strange echo. Maybe really, yeah. Mute yourself. I think it's better now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, this is just to make it a little bit clearer that these are no tokens that are kind of now coming from a bug in the protocol or something like this. They're really only from the initial crowd sale, from the change of the supply to the 2.7 PI, and from the change of the first original signature to the next signature scheme that was used in 2016. And nothing else of those tokens is coming from later periods, and nothing is coming from 2017, while IOTA was already publicly traded, and IOTA, the protocol, was already managed by the IOTA Foundation. Okay, so what else? Maybe, yeah, so again, please, if anybody does not understand what I'm talking about or has any kind of questions, just really bring them up now. Okay.
Anybody out there? Out there? Out there?
Nobody. So what else? What else can I do? I can maybe go quickly through the Firefly UI UX. I think I showed it last time again, and I think there hasn't much changed. But oh, there's a dark mode. I don't show you. This is actually there's some more stuff, but I can't show you. But this is actually how the flow is envisioned in the Firefly wallet. So I told it also the last time. Firefly will change a bit the account structure. So you will see here the site has a bit changed, and what will happen in the next update with Firefly is that everything that you do will be based on the wallet of your profile. You know, you have a Firefly profile where you log in, and then inside this profile you can create certain different wallets, and the Firefly will from then on display all functionalities always per wallet.
Hey Philo, I just want to make sure. Are you you're showing that right now?
Oh yes, I should maybe switch the.
Yeah.
I should change window. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that. I didn't know if it was a lag or not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so here we are.
There we go.
There we go. Yes. So there we go. This is actually the new layout for Firefly, showing the governance tab, which we will have here. And like I said, you will have the governance tab, and you will have always the functionality also for sending and receiving and for staking tokens will be always per wallet. And so if you have now, there's one wallet called Pizza Fund, and there would be another wallet, the holding wallet and the family wallet or whatever. You would always have to do any action that you do, you are doing per wallet. And if you have several wallets in the Firefly profile, you will have to do the voting and the staking and all the things then per wallet and not per account or per profile anymore. Yeah, so you will enter the governance tab. You will see your actually how we call it voting power. And so this is actually your token balance sitting in this specific wallet. And you will have a little info tab for the governance info. If you click on this button, you will be linked to the Treasury website, which is has been created to give you more information about the vote, tutorials about the vote, exactly how to step-by-step explanation, how to do everything in Firefly. So there will be a really nice tutorial with screenshots. Maybe we even, I don't know, maybe we even get a little video done that displays exactly how the process of voting works. Then you will see the actually currently active proposal, and you see we also have already tabs here for further proposals. This could be proposals produced by the community. This would be possible proposals later to define more of the governance process around those tokens. And you will also see your voting history, kind of the history of all votes that you have been doing with this specific wallet. Yeah, so later on you will have then inside the proposals, you will have several proposals, and you can see in which state they are at the moment, and by clicking on them you can further process on them. So this would be kind of and we call it in the announcement phase. This means the proposal is already announced, but you are not able to vote yet, and also nothing is counted. But you will see it is an announcement, and you will see the voting starts on this day, and the counting, actually when your votes really gain weight, will start on this day at this time. We will have a little explainer also for anybody. These are all kind of little tooltips that will pop up if you hover over your. Actually, I think this will come up if you hover over here. So that's kind of the info button here that will explain what the voting weight means. As soon as we move into the phase where the voting is possible for you, you will be able to cast a vote. You will see, okay, the voting is open. The counting will start. So this will be the next step. Voting is open for 7 days. Then counting will start, and the counting length will be 10 days. And by clicking one of those buttons, you can choose to choose option 1 or choose option 2, and then you will cast your vote by clicking this button, and then you will have to confirm your vote, and you will have to put in your Firefly password, or you will have to sign the transaction with your Nano Ledger. Later on, you will see, okay, I have selected this option, so my votes are casted. You have this amount of voting power currently in the vote, and on this time, the voting will start. You will also, of course, be able to stop stuff. So if you're not happy with it, you can click on the button here, and you will have a little button that you say, okay, you want to stop it, and you confirm that you're stopping, and then your vote is removed without being counted in this period. Next thing would be as soon as we arrive in the counting period. So the 7 days are finished, and you are now in the time frame where it really counts and where it's really important to be in the vote. You see it, Firefly will show you, we're counting already. In the moment, you have not voted anything. So here you see you have not counted any votes, but because the voting has been going on already since 4 days, you see it here, the rest of the ledger and the rest of the community has already voted, and you will see the current results of all the global count of the vote. And if you want to start to vote, you will again use the button, you will confirm it with your ledger, and then you're on, and then you will see this is what you are actively voting, and you will see how many of your votes have now already been counted coming from your funds. These numbers, they are just made up in a moment, so they won't align to what you have. And what else? If you would want to change a vote, you can also do this. So you would then just kind of click on the vote that you have already selected. You can choose to change the vote. You will confirm that you changed the vote, and then you would be actively voting for the other opinion. And then you would also see that you have voted, this is the green one, already for build, some amount of tokens, but you also have now already voted for the other option. So you can really vote for 2 options if you think this is something useful, or if you changed your mind during the time, you can change it. But the votes that have been already counted for the other opinion, they will stay in the register, and they cannot be removed by you. So you cannot change anything that happened in the past. You can only change your future votes. Else? Yeah. So if you would receive,
yeah, that is beautiful.
Yes, yeah. And so if you would receive during you are already voting, and you buy some more tokens, because we should always buy more IOTA tokens, you know, and you want to put them also up to the vote, you can do this same like in staking. You can merge your funds. Firefly will recognize that you have received fresh tokens and will actually display you that you have new unvoted funds. And by clicking here on Manage Voting Funds, you will be able to merge this new received funds into your already existing vote. And from the point on where you confirm this new tokens will also produce votes in the counting. This is actually, do we have? Okay, and so in the end, when everything is finished, the 10 days are over, your votes have been counted, and Firefly will show you the global result. In the governance tab, it will show you actually it is ended. It will show you who was the winner of the proposal. It will show you how many votes you have casted, and it will indicate for which option. And it will show you the global result of the final count of the vote, how many votes and how many percentage of all casted votes have been chosen for one or the other opinion. This is how we envision it to be. And like I said, Firefly is in the making phase. The team is working really hard on making this thing finalized. Not super long waiting anymore, and then we will have the vote going live for you. Okay, so this is, I think, what I wanted to tell you today. But any questions, anything you want to discuss, anything that is not clear, anything that you want to mention here to the community, just please feel free, speak up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Olivier speaking here. First of all, thanks a lot for all the work you're doing. I just have one question regarding the legality of the unclaimed tokens. So my question is, if after the vote and we decided to burn or to build with the tokens, if someone comes later after the vote and says, okay, I want to claim these tokens here now, are we sure that we are not, that the IOTA Foundation, for example, or the whole community cannot be held liable in that scenario?
Yes, we are sure about this. So the IOTA Foundation lawyers have looked very deeply into this, and from the opinion of the legal experts, there is no legal claim on those tokens anymore existing, and so there is nobody can get a legal claim on those tokens anymore from the initial purchasers or for the people that once did hold them a couple of years ago. In the current opinion of in the law and in the statements, it is something like this kind of. They have been abandoned over so many years. There are certain time frames set in most legalities and in most jurisdictions worldwide, and we have checked most of them. So this is why we are sure that we can do this now, and there will be no possible legal claims on those tokens anymore that would be considered by any court as a legal claim.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Anybody else? Some questions? Something unclear? Something to clarify? Something to mention?
Wow, this is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
You got through it, yeah.
Themes, we got through it. What else I have to say? I think I say it all the time. It's pretty important that we as a community spread the word. I mean, there was a blog post, and there is, of course, gonna come, the closer we come to the vote, we're gonna make some noise in social media. It's mostly important so that people really know that the vote is coming and that they use the time before the vote to get informed. We have the website, we have the blog post, we have all kind of information out there available. And so if you are a little bit active in social media, on Twitter or wherever, and you have some, just post from time to time, okay, there's a vote upcoming. So because there's a lot of people that own IOTA that are not closely following the project. We have seen this in several occasions where people still have not yet migrated their tokens to the new network and things like this. So it's always good if we all together make a little bit noise outside there, that soon something will come up, and people should use the power that they have to make an educated decision and decide what should happen to those tokens. Okay.
Great that you mentioned that from
Yeah.
the people that haven't migrated their funds from the legacy network to Cryptadis, because some people think that tokens that are still in legacy network are going to be compromised in this.
Yes, and this is also something that we really, everybody, if you see something like this posted somewhere in a forum or in Twitter or in Facebook or wherever, please always clarify that Chrysalis migration tokens, so the ones that are the migration that happened in last year, has nothing to do with those tokens. They will not be touched by this vote. This is really stuff that is kind of from the graveyards of IOTA, while the network did not even really exist, and only those tokens are here up for a vote. Things that happen later, especially the tokens that are still in the legacy network. This, I think it's like still 10 or 12% or something like this that are not migrated. They will not be touched. This has nothing to do with this vote, and people still have time to migrate their tokens. But please migrate your tokens soon, because kind of otherwise you won't be able to participate in the vote. You are not able to participate in the staking. So if you know anybody that is still sitting on tokens in the old network, make them aware that it's really time for them to move them into the new Chrysalis network, because I mean, one day there will be a core decide coming, and then there will be the next migration happening, and latest then this legacy network tokens will not be usable and even not be migratable easy anymore. So really spread a bit the word in social media that people should really pull out their old ledgers or their paper wallets or wherever and just move it into Firefly and do an easy migration to the new network. Excellent. Yeah, so like I said, that's from my side. If you guys and ladies still have some questions, continue here. If not, we can wrap it up. We will have the next community call next Thursday with, we don't know, maybe hopefully more updates from Firefly. There will be then one point Firefly will move a first beta version of the voting functionality into the beta test group. We have an amazing and excellent closed testing group of community members. There are, I think, over 80 community members in this group. They are really good and trained in finding all bugs and really helping the Firefly team to make the version that will be released really ready and excellent. So this is the next step that will happen. The stuff will happen and will move into the closed testing group. It will move to the translators so that all this information in Firefly is also available in all current languages that we translate. And then if the testing group is satisfied and we are all happy with the voting functionality, how it works, then we will release the date. We will release a minimum one more blog post that exactly explains how voting works. And then, of course, we will release a notification on all social medias that really makes everybody aware when the date is that you will be able to vote, and you will have to update your Firefly wallet, and then you can start voting. Okay, that's from me for today.
All right, Holger, awesome as always. Very informative. I loved the breakdown that you did of where the tokens were coming from for this, because
I think it's important.
That was really important.
And it's even for us, really, I have to say, we because I mean, even in the foundation, there are not so much people working that have been around at these times. 2015, 2016, there are a couple. I mean, Eric Hobb and things like this, but I think even Charlie was not there, and so kind of Dom.
Yeah, I don't think he was. Yeah.
And so we really figured out that we saw in some responses and some questions in social media that the something was not clear in the way we communicated this, and even we figured out that mostly because we kind of relied on the blog post from April 21, which already had the wrong communication in it. And so now we really sat down yesterday and kind of, guys, we have to put a little bit clarification out on this before kind of also false assumptions get spreaded and people kind of have the wrong information out there, which is not needed. So it's I think it's good to
it's
clarify
really
like
good.
this.
It'll help quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Awesome, my friends.
Oh.
Thank you
All right.
all very much. I will stop recording now, and I'll post the link in Twitter and here in the channel later. So if somebody missed it and you want to watch it later, it will be in our YouTube channel, the IOTA Pioneers YouTube channel. There's a playlist with all the recordings of the other meetings also. And so whenever you have time, just hop into it and watch it. And I will, over the weekend, will also post the meeting notes in GitHub so that everything is documented what we have been doing here. Thanks a lot, and see you next week, Thursday, 3 p.m. Berlin time for the next call. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.